Hi Libra, welcome to your weekly check-in for the 26th of November to the 2nd of December. These messages are for Libra Sun, Moon and Rising. Feel free to like, share and comment on the video, and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you'd like to do that as well. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who does all of those things, who has done all of those things. It's really appreciated. If you would like a personal reading, please see the information in the description box below the video for that. So these are the decks I'm going to be using for the reading today. I'm going to start off with a message from this Oracle deck, Black Moon Lilith Cosmic Alchemy Oracle. So it's a brand new deck that I've purchased and I am very happy with it. I believe I've had it less than a week, and yeah, just connected with it immediately as soon as it was in my hands. The messages are just like beyond accurate. I really like the way that the authors put the book together. She's an astrologer, so she talks a lot about astrology in the book. She gives example of people that we may know in real life and how certain situations manifested for them based on their Black Moon Lilith placement. And it's just, yeah, just a good book. So let's have a look. Let's get the deck out and let's see what your main theme is for the week, for the 26th of November to the 2nd of December. And I forgot to say, you might want to consider this message with the full moon coming up on the 27th of November. You might want to take messages from this reading and use them to help you set intentions if there's anything that you want to release. So Libra's main theme for the 26th of November to the 2nd of December, please. What are Libra's main messages, or is Libra's main message? So I will take those and I'll read them from the book. So you have, I can't even read that word, putrefaction. That's the first one. Shadow release. And projection, your spiritual gold. So let's start off with that putrefaction message, 37. And it says, how you view the world is how you view yourself. When the putrefaction oracle card shows up, it's time to face the difficult shadows within you and become conscious to what you are projecting into the world. Psychoanalyst Carl Jung, I think it's Jung, I'm going to say Jung, described the shadow as our untamed true nature that we hide from the world to feel safe and accepted in our environment. The authentic side of ourselves is hidden by a mask to protect itself when we experience trauma or challenges. This card calls for you to do inner work around how you perpetuate suffering in your own reality. Where are you projecting your own shortcomings, pain, trauma, and angst onto others? Projection occurs when you are triggered and reactive to your outer world. This is because of pain from past traumas or difficulties that are buried beneath the surface. Think of when an objectively beautiful person walks into a room and immediately receives jealousy and judgment from those in the room who feel insecure in themselves. An alchemist will use moments like this as an opportunity to cleanse their shadow through releasing others' opinions. Putrefaction is the 5th phase of alchemy and one of the most emotionally challenging because it requires an honest look within. Scientifically, putrefaction is the decomposition of organic matter. Use your life as a spiritual practice and start to release unconscious patterns. Doing so will create space for new, healthy patterns. So putrefaction, phase shadow work. Handling difficult emotions is one of the most challenging parts of alchemy, and it's best not to do this alone. Seeking a licensed therapist, healer, mystic, or astrologer can help you help guide your way through this extremely sensitive phase of the process. Remember that support is available to you and that requesting it is a sign of strength, not weakness. Purge and integrate the dark energy within you. Shift negative projections into self-empowerment. I like the fact that when he speaks of seeking support and assistance, it says help guide your way. Because I am someone who is more along the lines of, especially in terms of like spiritual, emotional, stuff like that. When you seek help, it's not for someone to fix you. It's for you to resolve whatever it is that you to resolve. But it's having someone support, encourage and guide you rather than it going like if you went into therapy or counseling. It's not, for me, it's not to go in and expect them to fix you. It's for them to help you illuminate, to help you develop tools that will all help you to help yourself. So yeah, let's look at that second message, projection. And that was mentioned in the putrefaction message, wasn't it, about projection as well? So let's see if this is a different, if there's any similarities in the meanings of how they use projection. So it says, projection, your spiritual gold, you've reached the end of the rainbow and the spiritual pot of gold is yours. When the projection oracle card appears, the cosmos wants to let you know the abundance, joy and fulfillment have arrived, or that abundance, joy and fulfillment have arrived. You are at the end of an arduous yet empowering journey towards self-acceptance and empowerment. The sun is an esoteric symbol of this time in alchemy, so pay attention to your sun sign in astrology. You are now aligning with this power. Your shadow is projected back to when you cast it out to others, but so is your light when you go through the alchemical process and embody it. This is the final gate in the alchemical magnum opus where you have released shadow projections, and you are emanating out your spiritual gold easily and effortlessly. You are now fully aligned with your higher self and fully embodying your life path. You've achieved the Philosopher's Stone and are able to use it to transform the world around you. So projection phase shadow work. Investigate your sun sign in astrology when you are in this phase of alchemy. Learning more will give you a strong idea of how to continue embodying your spiritual gold. For further details, it's talking about other pages in the book. It says that there's a page that you can go to for further details on how to channel your astrological sun sign, see page 48. And it says, you are glowing, your soul's essence is shining brightly, attracting abundance, joy and love. Let's have a quick look at this page 48, just to have a... okay, I've seen this. It just tells you... yeah, it just gives you the dates for your sun sign. So, this message is for Libra, sun, moon or rising, but I will point out, since sun in Libra, it mentions sun sign. So sun in Libra is known to be characteristically as a harmonious lover. So that may help someone, it may not. That might be part of your spiritual gold, or you might want to channel that. But these are quite opposite messages. This is like the beginning, the shadow release, and this is like the end result, like the pot of gold at the end, the light at the end of the tunnel, isn't it? So where are you with this? Is it a work in progress? Is that why both of these has come up? Because they're very opposite. I would say it probably is a work in progress, that you are going through this, maybe nearing the end of it and getting to that pot of gold. So let's have a look at the theme for Libra from the tarot deck as well. So what's Libra's theme, Libra Sun, Moon and Rising's theme from the tarot deck, please, as well, for this check-in? Five of Swords. That could be shadow release, shadow work. It talked about projection. What do you project? How do you project suffering in your own reality? What do you project onto others? I guess that would be that energy. It feels like the shadow. The untamed, what did they say? The untamed something. The untamed version of yourself, the shadow self, if we're going to just keep it simple. So your energy, how are you dealing with this? That's the dark side of us, isn't it? That's the side of us that can be jealous. The side of us that can be selfish, the side of us that can maybe be a bit manipulative at times, whatever other negative words you want to come up with, whatever you feel that your shadow is, if you're willing to admit it, because I know it's not nice for us to admit the dark sides of ourselves, is it, sometimes? So your energy, Page of Swords. I would say that's an energy of learning, but it's kind of in reverse. Well, not kind of, it is in reverse. So why is it in reverse? Right, could be that, again, I said work in progress, so maybe you are in the process of learning something and that's why it's in reverse, or wanting to learn something. You could be avoiding something, actually, with it being in reverse, because upright is where you would be willing to learn something. Reversed is you might be resistant, and you may already know at this point I'm a Libra, so yeah, I'm not gonna deny anything here. It could be resistance. But let's see, external or surrounding energy. Seven of Cups. So potentially looking at different perspectives. That's one way of reading that card, or trying to overcome confusion of some kind. Guidance, please. That's too many. Any guidance? I don't know, I got a rebel vibe from that, because what did we get? The Nine of Wands and the Hierophant, and I got kind of rebel. Someone being a bit of a rebel. So let's see if the Knight of Wands comes up now, then yes, it's about being a rebel. Right, we've got the Two of Pentacles. I'm going to take that upright. And I mean, Libra, we are known to be connected with balance, aren't we, strongly? So Two of Pentacles there. Right. Let's look at this Five of Swords. I feel that's our shadow. That's that shadow release stuff that we need to be doing. So Five of Swords, what do we need to know about this? So we've got the Seven of Pentacles. We have the Magician. Page of Swords again, but this time it's upright. Strength. I can see the story coming together already. Let's try that again. That was too many, and it gets really confusing when there's too many in one go. So let me have one more. Just one card. There we go. And it is the Queen of Wands, but she's in reverse. Okay, and that would be a shadow. So the Queen of Wands in reverse, I mean, that would be stuff like where she's potentially, and I'm not saying that this is what people are, but I'm just going with the card interpretation, where in reverse she can be selfish, she can be shallow, she can be jealous. It's things that I just mentioned as part of a shadow. It's not the only things, but those are the main things that I can think of. So Seven of Pentacles, I would say, first of all, I still feel this is shadow release. Seven of Pentacles. For me, it's reviewing your values. How do I put this? Because we talk about integrating the shadows and the light, don't we, in tarot? It's not a case of rejecting parts of yourself, is it? But I guess it's reviewing or assessing what traits do you have that you want to focus on and use to better yourself. And even the traits that you're not keen on within yourself, the dark stuff, the shadows, how can you, shall I say, alchemize, manipulate even? How can you manipulate those things for your benefit? And I don't mean to manipulate other people, but how can you use them as a strength? How can you integrate them to improve, for self-improvement? Page of Swords for me, it's the learning process. It's learning this strength, courage. It takes courage to go within and to look at the shadow side of yourself, doesn't it? Is it worth clarity? Right, let's look at the Queen of Swords. Queen of Wands, sorry, at first, not Queen of Swords. Queen of Wands. Is it going to tell us specifically what the shadow is? So we've got the Sun and the Fool, which doesn't make that much sense, although the Sun is standing out to me a lot. I would say the key message from the Sun and the Fool is it's not saying specifically what the shadows are, but it is having that willingness to look at the shadows, to be honest, to illuminate the shadows. And then the Hermit is about doing inner work, isn't it? So yeah, it's not saying specifically what the issues are, but it's again, it's the energy of that willingness to look at the shadows and learn from it and use how to integrate it, having the courage to I don't know, to do whatever you need to do with it. Let's get one for the Magician. It's one of these readings where I feel like it's going to be vague, where it says, oh, you need to work on this, but then it won't tell you what you need to work on specifically. But I suppose it's because maybe you already know, or the point is that it's a journey of self-discovery. One thing that there could be something here with, in terms of shadows, is how you relate and connect with others. There could be something about that's relevant there. Or it could be telling you how to integrate your shadow so that you can connect with people better. You've got the King of Cups there. So there may be something emotionally that you need to face as well, because the King of Cups, as we keep saying, he's a bit reserved with his emotions. Like he keeps stuff to himself, doesn't he? So there may be something there that is a particular shadow about yourself. this is going to sound harsh, and as I say, I'm a Libra too, so I never shy away from the shadows. I'm willing to, like, if you said, here's a piece of paper, write down all of your flaws, I'd happily do it. Well, not happily, but I would do it, because I'm not really afraid to address the dark side of myself. I'll give you a list, and I'll probably miss some stuff off, but then if somebody else said it to me, I'd probably be like, you know what, you're right. Yeah, that is a dark part of me as well. Not everybody feels that way. So again, that manipulativeness, yeah, sounds a bit harsh, but is there a part of you that's manipulative when it comes to other people? Because the magician, the darker side of the magician, or shadow side, can be known to be manipulative. And then you've got the King of Cups. The shadow side of the King of Cups can be manipulative as well. And then you've got the Two of Cups there with other people. And that can vary, kind. It can be little things, little white lies, if you want to call them that, to the whole, to narcissism, if you want to go to the extreme. Let's get one more for that magician. Oh God, and then we get the devil. So yeah, I think that might be right, actually. Let's get one more. Yeah, there could be something for someone here, or a bunch of us here, where there's something about manipulation. And again, as I say, it doesn't have to be dark, devious, devilish kind of manipulation. It can be little things even sometimes. You know, like a little way of manipulating somebody would be like pretending that you're unable to do something, or you don't know how to do something just because you don't want to do it. And you know somebody else, if you say to someone, oh, I don't know how to do that, they'll do it for you. That would be a little innocent thing, but it is still manipulation. But you know what I mean, it's more on the light-hearted side than the whole narcissistic side of things. We've got the Two of Wands there. I think this is a choice in terms of, well, first of all, a choice to face the shadows, but also a choice of, once you face them, then deciding how to use or integrate, or what to do with that part of yourself. Like, for example, if you are manipulative, then can you use that for the greater good in some way, shape or form? Like, say, in terms of, say, one way of using manipulation in a positive way is if you're standing up for someone or fighting for something, you're trying to get justice. I know that sounds really weird, but yes, you can use manipulation for good. Or if not, then if you can't use it for good, then what do you do with it? Do you transmute it into something else? I don't know the answer to that, but yeah, that's something to think about. So I'm going to leave that there. So as I say, it's the shadow release, it's the shadow work, this Five of Swords. It's being willing to look at the darker shadow side of yourself and discover that side of yourself, and discover what you want to do about it, what you want to do with it. Is there something that you need to do to, as I say, I don't think it's a case of making a part of yourself disappear. You can't do that, but I'm not 100% certain what the answer is to that. I'm not someone who, I've done a lot of shadow work, but it's still a process of discovery for me as well. In terms of my shadows, what do I do with my shadows? I don't know, so maybe I'll do a video on that at some point when I have a specific answer for you. I know that I can face the shadows, but yeah, there's still a lot to learn about what to do with it. So Page of Swords. And as I said, that may be, you're in an energy where there may be, you may have done shadow work before, or there are some things you're willing to acknowledge, but maybe there is something that you are like, I'm not admitting to that, or no, that's not me, but there really is something there that's dark about you, a shadow side of you that you're not willing to, you don't want to go there, basically, which it's understandable. As I said, there are certain parts of us that we don't want to admit to, aren't there? So Page of Swords, this reading, I might title this reading not for the faint-hearted, because if you get triggered easily by hearing about this kind of stuff, it's not gonna do you any good, is it? Well, it probably should if it triggers you to do inner work, but yeah. Page of Swords, right. So we've got the three, that's intentions, isn't it? So again, in terms of shadows, contemplate your intentions in things that you do, things that you say. Something about relationships wanting to come out there again with the Lovers, but Page of Pentacles, right? See, remember what I said about the Page of Swords, where you kind of don't want to look at a certain part of yourself? That Five of Pentacles for me can feel like rejection. Again, are you rejecting looking at a particular shadow side of yourself? And the shadow isn't just the dark, evil side of yourself either. The shadow side of yourself can be things like lacking assertiveness, can't it? That could be something that's a shadow side, because yeah, I'm not a psychologist to go into a deep description about that, but it's something that needs to be resolved, isn't it? Something that needs to be addressed. I suppose one thing is that if you lack assertiveness, then any resentments or frustrations about lacking assertiveness in situations can come out other ways. Like, say if your boss at work it treats you like shit, and you or a colleague at work treats you like shit and you lack assertiveness with that person, they may get to walk all over you, but you could then go home to your family and rip everybody's head off for the slightest little thing at home, because of the resentment you feel towards that colleague. But you can't express it to the colleague, but it comes out to your family. So that would be a shadow, wouldn't it, that you then taking the anger out on your family instead. So anything else? The Tower. The Tower for me can come up as anger sometimes, but it is about a need to change. But let's see what else comes out after that. We have the Knight of Cups, which makes I'm going to try that again, actually. That makes no sense. So after the Tower, right, that feels right. The Hermit, again, inner work. So we've got the Nine of Cups here. Queen of Pentacles. And the Two of Swords. Something's coming to mind. Yeah, something interesting is coming to mind here, right? So we've got the Tower. I said there's a potential for that to be anger. So again, that could be, I just talked about the resentment. But also something's coming to mind here in terms of talking about how we deal with the shadows. Like, once you establish what your shadows are, the dark parts of yourself, the negative, if you want to call it that, what do you do with it? And the thing that came to mind is, if you struggle to face the shadows of yourself, the shadow parts of yourself, one thing that you could do if you find it difficult and you feel like it's going to devastate you to address those sides of yourself is get a piece of paper, two sides. Sorry, just got to pause my alarm. Write the shadows down. One side for the shadow side, one side for the parts of you, the things about yourself that you absolutely love. In theory, in spirituality, we kind of say that you need to love all parts of yourself, even the dark parts. And it's hard. It's bloody hard. It really is. I can speak for myself when I say that. When there's certain things that have happened in life, things that you've done, things that you do, and there are some things that may happen, or that you may have said to people, and you think, oh my God, how could I have said that? Like if you as I say, if you have moments when you're feeling angry, resentful, or whatever, and something just flies out of your mouth, and you're like, you can't take it back, can't you? You can't unhear it, you can't unsay it. The other person involved can't unhear it either, and you might sort of think to yourself, God, I can't forgive myself forever for saying that. And I can't tell you, oh, well, you have to forgive yourself. In theory you do, but it's easier said than done sometimes, isn't it? When people have arguments and they say nasty things to their partner, and it's not even, obviously there's a difference if it's domestic abuse, that's something completely different, but general basic arguments, you might say something horrible that you regret, and it's like, it's hard to kind of get past that. It can be hard, can't it? You can feel very guilty. You can be played by guilt. So yeah, back to the point. Piece of paper, one side shadow traits, the other side the things that you really admire about yourself. And I don't know, it's just a way of creating a bit of balance, isn't it? So you're like, I'm not completely evil. That's the only thing I can think of, or one way I can think of to balance things out. And to sort of remember that you are a human being. It doesn't dismiss where you treated people badly and say, oh, well, it's a free pass now. You said something nasty to some person, but you're actually, you do this, that's nice. So completely ignoring that. It's not that. It's just facing everything and realizing that you are a complete human being with different sides of yourself. And if there are certain dark parts of yourself, knowing the triggers that make those come out as well, so that you can address them. Like, again, going back to that example of at work, if you have a colleague that pisses you off, is there anything you can do to address the situation with your colleague so that you're not going home pissed off and tearing your family a new asshole? You know what I mean? Right, so I'll leave that. Let's just have a look at these again. So these, I think these would be the positives. The Nine of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles for me would probably be the positive parts of yourself. The parts of yourself that you like, that you enjoy with that Nine of Cups, the parts of yourself that you value. It's just two truths here, isn't it? It's just what I said. The side, you've got the shadow side, if you wrote it down on a piece of paper, the shadow side, and the parts that you feel are great. And the Hermit is just going internally and looking at that and not being afraid to look at that as well. So yeah, I'll leave that there. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So where you are now, your energy now, as I say, you might be kind of not quite wanting to look at certain stuff. You might be afraid, which there's no shame in that whatsoever. It is scary. There are lots of people who blatantly refuse to even acknowledge that they have a shadow side, and it is scary, isn't it? Because you don't want to think that you're a bad person. I think most people don't want to think that they're a bad person, so you'd rather either ignore it, reject it, or have an excuse for it. And there are reasons for everything, but yeah, only you know what your true intentions are. So Seven of Cups, it could be an energy around you pushing you to look at the different aspects of yourself, like I just said, and the reasons why as well for your behaviors, the shadow side, what's behind it. Okay, Seven of Swords. And you know, one of my meanings for the Seven of Swords is often about a need to be honest with yourself, isn't it? That's one of the things I often say about that. I actually think, so the spiritual gold thing talks about, is it the gold at the end of the rainbow or something, or light at the end of the tunnel or whatever. And I think, if you want to call it a reward or whatever, like getting to that point of spiritual gold where you've succeeded or whatever, a part of that is being able to face your shadows as well, because who the hell on earth is an actual literal saint or angel? I know there have been people who have been sainted, but realistically, as a human being, we're not perfect. Part of what makes us human is the fact that we are imperfect. And I keep saying I want to do a video on that, which I was thinking about doing this week actually, but part of it is being able to acknowledge your shadows and maybe do something about it as well. And that doesn't mean you'll ever become perfect, but even acknowledging where you've done things that you're not proud of, and kind of addressing that in whatever way it is that you need to address it, whether you forgive yourself, have to apologize to someone, whether you try to change. But first of all, accepting that you've done what you've done if you did something that you're not proud of. So let's look at the King of Wands and the Ten of Swords. I mean, the King of Wands is someone who does what needs to be done, isn't he? Does what it takes. I don't think he'd be afraid to face his shadows. And I know the King of Wands is meant to represent Leo energy, and I think in the Leo reading I talked about pride and how there'd be a fear of, if you're someone who's got a lot of pride, you're going to be afraid, you'd be afraid to fail. You'd probably have a fear of failure. You'd imagine that you wouldn't want to look at the shadows because your pride would sort of say, oh, well, I'm not horrible, I'm not a bad person. But I don't know, I just get Aries energy from, maybe it's just this particular King of Wands or King of Wands in general, but I'm getting Aries energy. And I don't think, I mean, I don't know, but I just kind of feel like he'd be like, yeah, this is who I am. I'm not saying he's proud of doing anything horrible, but it's just like he'd be willing to face the fact that he did what he did. And it's just like, right, well, I've done that. It was shit, and I've got to carry on. I've got to move on. So Ten of Swords, and the Ten of Swords, that probably is the moving on, isn't it? That could be where you've been stabbed in the back, where you feel like you've stabbed people in the back, potentially. You've got Judgment there, which is reviewing the past. It's like giving yourself a second chance. Every time you feel like you fucked up, that's really harsh, isn't it? But I don't mean that as a criticism. Every time you feel like you fuck up, it's like giving yourself a second chance, reviewing what's happened and saying, right, well, I can carry on. You know what I mean? It's every day is a fresh slate. Yeah, there are some things that are harder to move on from than from others, but you can give yourself a second chance each morning. It's like, right, that happened. Who do I need to apologize to? If you need to apologize to anyone, do you need to forgive yourself? You may say to yourself, do I need to forgive myself? And then taking the steps to move forward and not kind of dwell on that for the rest of your life, and acknowledge it, have it there, so that if a similar situation comes up, maybe you don't react in the same way if something weird happened and you reacted badly. But it's looking at the perspectives and contemplating everything so that you are able to move on and move forward, and maybe take something valuable, like learn something from the situation even as well. I'm going to leave that there. I don't think there's anything else to say about that. So let's look at the Two of Pentacles. Again, it's kind of like weighing things up, isn't it? Weighing things up, regaining the balance. It's that piece of paper with the shadows and the stuff you love about, well, not love, but admire about yourself on there that you think are great. So Two of Pentacles. Do I want to take, I'm going to try that again. Actually, I'll take the ones that are here. No, I'm going to try it again. It doesn't feel right. So Two of Pentacles. So you've got the Knight of Wands. What fell onto my lap was the Five of Cups in reverse and the Devil. That feels like moving on with that Five of Cups. It's like, you know, shit went down. There may be things that you're not proud of, that you've got that Devil energy there, which is, it's the shadows again. But it's being able to move on, to continue on your path, on your adventure of life, basically. Carrying on, not letting that hold you back and get in your way of moving forward. Five of Swords, again, the shadows, isn't it? That Five of Swords is there again. Let's get one more. Death, that's a card of transformation. So it's transforming from those experiences, I would say, is the key here. Transforming from the experiences where you may not have been proud of yourself. This is going to be, I can imagine this reading is going to trigger so many bloody people. Potentially. It may not, actually. It may not. And as I always say, feel free to leave your comments if you relate to the reading or if it resonates or whatever. But yeah, I can imagine it might trigger quite a few people. But yeah, we all have a shadow side. None of us are perfect. So yeah, I think there's nothing to add from that. As I said, Two of Pentacles, it's weighing it all up, isn't it? And learning how to face the shadows and move on from them and continue to move forward and transform as a person through that, so you can get to your spiritual gold. So if you are still with me and you haven't been triggered excessively, right, let's look at, and as I say, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. As I say, none of us are perfect. Things happen in life that, you know what I mean? I don't know what else I can say about that. So final messages for Libra. I don't know what I'm going to call this reading that will not put people off. I think I will just call it Not for the Faint of Heart. Final messages for Libra. Commitment. Okay, I like that. That does fit. It's the, as I said, if you want to get part of that spiritual gold, or getting the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, is willingness to face the shadows and commitment to continually facing your shadows and to growing and transforming from it. So it says you dedicate yourself to your beliefs, if you can see that. Feels like it's really blurry. Wholeheartedly, knowing that love is the essence of your very being. That is a beautiful message on its own. I'm going to read it from the book as well, but I think that's key, isn't it? If you're committed to love and to being a loving being, no matter what happens, no matter what mistakes you feel you've made, or the parts of yourself that you feel embarrassed about, or you feel like, oh, why did I do that, or whatever it is, as long as you're committed to being a loving being, you will overcome that. So commitment. By trusting, respecting, and loving all that you are, you broadcast your clear readiness to do the work necessary to manifest your intentions. When you come from a place of strong commitment and combine that with a strong sense of self, it sends a precise message to the universe that you are engaged and ready for lessons. In this way, you are also developing faith in yourself as you move closer to manifestation. There will always be others questioning your priorities. Bless them with the understanding that your commitment is to you only. No one else is meant to understand it, for it is truly your personal journey of self-discovery and healing. Never concern yourself with what others might think of you, for your light is different, and perhaps you will now ignite someone else's devotion to follow their soul's calling. You stand out from a crowd. Am I reading the right message? Yeah. You stand out from a crowd with your ability to clearly commit to what you want, enabling your wishes and desires to manifest quickly. So that's interesting that that message went there, because it's like a lead by example message, isn't it? And I suppose in a way, it would be nice to think that if you are someone who is unafraid to face your shadows and determined and committed to grow from learning from your shadows, that you are kind of leading by example, that others will follow your example, and hopefully that will help them too. But I'll leave your message there, Libra. As I say, if you're still with me and you haven't been triggered too much, yeah. So feel free to like, share or comment on the video. You're welcome to subscribe to the channel as well. If you'd like a personal reading, then see the description box for information on that. But as usual, thank you very much for watching, and until the next reading, take care.